Hey guys, and welcome to my IB experience video. So in today's video, we both did IB, and this was requested by a subscriber, so we're just going to be talking about our IB experience, how the testing works, how SL versus HL works, the skills we learned from it, and then how it applies to colleges in the future. Hi, my name's Melanie, and I make YouTube videos about my time at Notre Dame, and also sometimes they're advice, and sometimes they're vlogs, and yeah, it kind of just revolves around what I do and what people request for me to talk about. So if that sounds interesting, then you should subscribe, because I'm doing a giveaway at 500 and I'm only 4 subscribers away. So be one of those 4, because then there's a giveaway. Yeah, and basically I just make videos about my college life. So subscribe, like, comment, watch some of my other videos. Let's get into it. So as I mentioned, we both did the Diploma Program, which I guess there's also a career program, but that option was not offered at our school. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is why we did IB. So in my city, most of the high schools have magnet programs. So for example, there's like an engineering magnet, a health magnet, a criminal justice magnet, just a bunch of stuff like that. And then IB is also a different magnet program that we have. So I chose to do IB because I didn't know what specific career track I wanted to go down into. And IB was kind of just more of a holistic approach to learning, because it's all about being well-rounded. So they make you test in every different type of class that you take. So you test in science, you test in math, English, history, technology, languages. You just test in, you can also test in fine arts if you choose to. So you just test in everything, and it creates more of a well-rounded education. Also on the little pamphlet they put that it would be a good option if you wanted to go down the law track, and that's something I'm considering. So that's why I did IB. And then since I did IB, I went to high school across the city, which is like 45 minutes away. So then my sisters also had to come to high school where I was going, so that's why she did IB. So now I'm going to explain the differences between SL and HL. So in IB, when you take classes, you'll take 3 SL classes and 3 HL classes, because you'll take tests in all of those areas. So SL is standard level, and that means the tests are basically more comparable to AP, because you take the class for 1 year and then you test in that class at the end of the year. But sometimes they do make the courses 2 years. So for example, my class for math SL, I would take it junior year and senior year, and then I take the SL test at the end of the senior year, and that's just so that you don't have to squish all the material into 1 year. But they're usually a little bit less thorough than HL's. So HL stands for higher level, and it's just more intense. You go more deeply into the material that you're learning, and you take that class for 2 years. My camera's gonna die. Okay, so the SL classes that I took were math, Spanish, and ITGS, which ITGS is Information Technologies in a Global Society. Originally I was doing math HL, but that was just not fun for me, and I didn't enjoy it at all, so I switched to SL. And then HL, I did English, history, and bio. Those were the 3 HLs that most people at my school did. Morgan also took the same classes. One of my favorite classes from IB was TOK. So TOK stands for Theory of Knowledge. Morgan likes to call it
theory.
Yeah, she calls it theory, but it's TOK, that's the acronym. IB has all sorts of acronyms. So basically you just talk about different ways of learning and different structures of knowledge. There's also 6 categories that you go into in Theory of Knowledge, but that was definitely my favorite class. And at the end you put together a presentation. So my presentation was about why we take pictures and why we're into documenting different things that we do in our lives. What was your presentation on?
My presentation was on math, and how it's seen as perfect because you come to a certain answer and all.
Yeah, so basically TOK was one of my favorite classes. I also just liked the teacher that I had. So the next thing about IB is the extended essay. That's a really big project. It's a 4,000 word long essay that you work on starting in your junior year, and you finish it in about December of your senior year. So you work on that for a really long time, and you get one of your teachers as a mentor. And at my school it was typical to do either an English extended essay or a history extended essay, and I chose to do English, so I did mine on the book Strangers on a Train. And it was definitely a lot of work. Most people procrastinated it. I wouldn't recommend procrastinating it because it's so much to write, but So yeah, mine was English, and my junior year English teacher was my mentor, so that was a lot of fun because I really liked her. So the extended essay is not too bad. It's definitely doable. Don't freak out over it. Everyone kind of freaks out because everyone procrastinates, but if you just get it done sooner, that's better. But even if you procrastinate, you'll be fine. I wrote mine like 48 hours before it was due, so, and it was fine. I got a good grade on it and everything. Now you can talk about your extended essay.
Okay, it's gonna be a different angle because my camera battery died and I meant to bring my other battery, but I forgot. So we were just talking about our extended essays, so talk about yours now.
Okay, so I wrote my extended essay on the book Farewell to Arms, and okay, I'm not a good writer, so it was hard for me kind of, but I did procrastinate a lot, and like during my year it was kind of hard because I got a mentor that like was supposed to be my senior English teacher during my junior year, and she quit.
Yeah.
So I got changed like to my junior teacher as my mentor.
The same one as me.
So I didn't go in as often to talk to her about my thing, which I definitely would recommend you talk to your mentors about your essay, because that would have helped my essay a lot if she would have went through it, but she didn't.
Yeah, but like also it's kind of weird because they give you the mentor, but the mentor doesn't really help you at all. Like they're just there to like, you bounce your ideas off of them. They're supposed to just make sure you stay on track and like don't procrastinate. But like you definitely need to go in and like talk to your mentor. But it's also hard because like my class, so my school, like we just had an issue with like losing IB teachers frequently. First of all, like the principal was like, well, and then so, like my sophomore year, okay, so and then we lost the junior lost English teacher, and English teacher was for your extended essay, you get to pick like whatever topic you want. So I mean, there's like a whole world out there that you can choose. That was like the hardest thing for me. I just looked up a list of like good books, and I was like, okay, like I guess I'll do this. I don't even know. So like definitely like maybe read some books like going into your junior year so you can decide like who you like or if you have a favorite author or something. But there's a lot of freedom with the extended essay, so I mean you can take advantage of that, but like you just have to do good on it. You don't have to do amazing just to get your diploma. So moving on, we're gonna talk about skills that we learn. So basically I'm pretty glad that I did IB because in middle school I used to be really shy, which I kind of talked about this in my how I got into Notre Dame video, which if you want to know more about like my stats and my grades and stuff, you can check out that video. I'll put like a tag. But basically I was really shy like in middle school, and then I went to a high school where I didn't know anyone, so like that was really hard because I had to like make new friends and like actually talk to people and stuff. But the way that they structured it, we took an ethics class our freshman year, and in that class we had to speak during every discussion, otherwise he would give you a bad grade. Oh my god, it's a B. Okay, there was a B, but we're back. Oh my god, so many issues. Okay, so basically like each time you didn't talk, your letter grade would drop for that discussion until basically he was failing you for every discussion. So I like had to talk because I really cared about my grades and stuff. So that definitely got me out of my shell more, and it helped me with my speaking skills and my debating skills and just general like Socratic based discussions. So that was really helpful, and that's something that's definitely very useful in college. I also got really good at presenting because you do have to present kind of a lot. A lot of my classes were project based, so we do a project and then we do a presentation for the class. Especially my senior year history class, we were doing presentations all the time. So definitely had to present a lot. And then I also got really good at writing because IB is pretty much all writing. So I think that's definitely a really good skill to have for college, but I don't know. I mean, even if you're not a strong writer, it's going to teach you how to be a strong writer, which you need for college. So I'm glad that I did that because I started out like as a good writer, but I definitely improved to be like a pretty good, like great writer by the end of my IB experience. Now you can talk about skills you learned in IB and if you're glad you did it.
Well, I kind of learned more about presenting, so like I'm kind of a better presenter because I have a hard time like talking, so I say like and a lot, so I don't do that as much in my presentations anymore. And I kind of learned more to like think on my feet, I guess, because like when you're writing you have to like prepare really fast because all of your writings are like timed. So I learned how to prepare faster. Even though I wasn't a great writer, I had an idea of what I was going to write about in a short amount of time, so I had time to write.
And it helps you like logically think things out in a really short amount of time.
And then I guess just being like more open-minded, so you could like see different sides of discussions that can make your argument even stronger. So I guess that helps me for like debates and stuff like that.
But it was definitely really useful, and you learn a lot of skills through IB. So honestly, I would recommend it because I mean, you just learn a lot of skills, and it just helps you be well-rounded. Like, we both learned Spanish because of IB, and like that's something I definitely would not have done. I probably would have taken up to like, I don't even know if I would have done up to Spanish 4, honestly, and I live in like a border city, so I mean there's Spanish all around me, and I don't even know if I would have taken Spanish if it wasn't for IB, because I don't speak it natively, so I just don't like doing things that I'm like not naturally good at, and Spanish is not something I'm naturally good at. But because of IB, I took a class where the teacher would not speak English to me, and now I understand and can speak Spanish. So I wouldn't speak English. That definitely helps. Okay, now going into more of the testing experience, our IB tests take place. Well, she won't have to take them because of COVID-19. They're just going to decide if they did well enough in the class to get their diplomas. So she's just going to probably get her diploma and not even have to take the test, which sucks. I did get my diploma, so with the test, so I mean that was a lot. But the testing experience, basically how our school does it is we take our tests in a synagogue because they rent it out to our school, and it's a really big room, and like you go so many days. So basically how it works, if you do an SL, you have 2 papers, but basically they have morning test, afternoon test, morning test, afternoon test, and you'll do paper 1, paper 2, paper 1, paper 2, but sometimes it'll get like your paper 1 might be in the afternoon, because for HL you take 3 papers. And paper just basically means test. Like, it's just like a UK thing, I think, because it's an international program, the International Baccalaureate program. So you take 1 paper at a time, and they're timed, and we would take them in a synagogue. They're really pretty much long tests, but they go by really quick because you're doing so much work for the entire test. Pretty much no one finishes early, and if you do finish early, it's probably only 5 minutes early because you're writing like really intense essays and just like scribbling away. I took only 1 IB test my junior year just for Spanish, which I think you can take up to 2 your junior year. I would definitely recommend doing that, because if not, it's a lot to take all 6 of them your senior year, because you have to study for these, and especially if your teachers aren't the best, you have to study a lot for these things. So because you're writing essays, like there's really no multiple choice except for on the bio test. I think that's the only one I had multiple choice on. And then the other easiest question there is a fill in the blank, and they don't give you a word bank or anything, so like they're kind of hard tests. So
the easy category.
Yeah, definitely not the easy category. So no one really finishes early, but I used the same, that's where I was. I only took 1 my junior year because you have to study a lot. And then my senior year, I took 5. So, I mean, that's a lot. That was 2 SL, so that's 4 papers. And then 3 HL, so that was 9 papers. 9. So that was 13 papers that I did. Like, so basically I just tested like consecutively all day, back to back for like 2 weeks, with maybe like a half a day or a day in between a couple of my tests, but not all of them. Most of it was just me like driving to the synagogue every day and staying there all day. Oh yeah, so basically for my senior year, I used the same ballpoint pens for all of my tests, and literally it started off probably with like this much ink, and by the end I only had like this much ink. If I have pictures, I'll insert them, because I did like daily tests, daily IB pen test updates. But I mean, I used a lot of ink because you write such long essays, and like it's just really hard.
Hi guys.
So yeah, definitely just a lot of writing. The tests aren't too bad. I mean, I was really worried for math just because since I switched from HL to SL, I did not do the entire statistics unit, which is what they spent almost the entire first year of SL math doing, and I missed all of that because I was learning like more complex things in HL. So I was like, and I've never even really been taught statistics because the math teachers that I have like are usually like, so yeah, yeah. And so I like was really worried about math, and I was really worried about bio, because when you take your test, you can't fail in HL, so you have to get a 3 or above, which the tests are at a 7, so you'd think a 3 is like very manageable, which it really is. But I was just really worried because I did not learn very much in bio or math, and I self-studied a lot. So, but I pulled through and I got my diploma, so it's fine. Basically, you take 6 tests. All are you can get a 1 to a 7, 7 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, and 1 and 2 being failing and 3 being passing. And then you just have to get 21 points to my understanding, plus points for your IAs, which your IAs factor into your test, which I'll talk about that next, and then for your extended essay and your TOK presentation. But yeah, that's basically how the testing works. So now I'll talk about the IAs. So these papers that you take are usually only worth, I think it's 60% of your grade, but don't quote me on that because I mean, it's been like 2 years since I did IB. So they're only worth about 60% of your grade, the papers that you take. And then the whole year, that usually if you're in an HL class, it's the last year, or if you're in an SL class, it's the whole year that you're in the class. You work on an internal assessment, which is an IA, which is another, oh, I also need to talk about CAS at the end of this. I forgot to mention that. Oh, yeah. So it's just basically another essay. It's a 1,500 word essay usually that you write about a topic from the class. Overall, definitely harder than AP in my opinion, which I also did AP, so I would know. And then, I mean, the IAs help because you get to work on it all year and it's like 40% of your grade. But overall, as long as you can learn facts and like memorize little things and write really well and be persuasive and stuff like that, it's really not too bad. Even if you're like not the best at those, the majority of the people in my IB program like got their diplomas. So I think only like 3 people out of 40 didn't, so that's fine. Lastly, something that I forgot to mention was the CAS project. That's my favorite thing, I think, because I did really well on my CAS project. So what I did was I started this program called Crafting in Crisis, which I talked about it a little bit also in that Notre Dame How I Got In video that I mentioned. So you can also watch that. But what I did was I just went to child crisis centers in my city every month and I did an arts and crafts with the kids. So CAS stands for Community Action and Service. So you do a big project that's at least 4 weeks long. That was my Crafting in Crisis. And then the way they broke it up for us, every month you had to do either something creative, something that was like an action, so like you did exercise or you stretched or like something like that, and then a service, and you had to have like a minimum number of each one. I think you had to have like at least 1, and we just did that for the 2 years that you're technically in IB, which is your junior and senior year. Before that we were in IB prep. So yeah, CAS really wasn't that bad. You just have to stay on top of it because like for us, I like procrastinated and then I had to like go back and write things for 2 years. So that sucked. But it really wasn't that bad and I enjoyed my CAS project. So now you can talk about your CAS project.
My CAS project I did with my friend, and we did like a book club for people with Down syndrome on the east side. So we just kind of worked with the Down Syndrome Coalition in El Paso to do that at one of the libraries. And so we would go after school every like Thursday every 2 weeks, and then we would just read with the people. So it was a lot of fun and it was a good experience to be with them and like help them out. So it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, I would definitely say we took our CAS projects like pretty seriously and actually did something that was really actionable with them, but not everyone does that. Some people do smaller projects. Like honestly, I couldn't tell you what the majority of the people in my class did because they weren't really big projects like that. It just has to last 4 weeks. But some other projects that were like some cute ideas, one or a couple of people in my class, a couple of like the theater kids, they got together and started a laughing club. So like every Wednesday they would meet in a classroom and they would just like do silly activities and like laugh for the entire lunch period. So that was something that was really funny actually and like really cool because it just like brought joy to people's day. So that's like another example of like a CAS project that you could do. And then just to wrap this up, how IB translates to like college credits and stuff like that. I go to Notre Dame, obviously. So that's a private university. And at a private university, you can really only get elective credits for your IB and your AP tests for the most part. Sometimes you can test out of things, but you technically have to do their core curriculum. So it's kind of hard to test out of things. So I got elective credits, but that's fine because again, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so it wasn't like I took tests specifically to test out of things for my major because I didn't even know what I wanted my major to be for the majority of my high school career. So if you know, then maybe try to aim your test towards that. IB has all sorts of tests that my school didn't offer, so there's a lot out there that you could try to mesh in with that. You can also double up and do IB and AP. But yeah, I know also for state universities that IB translates a little bit better over there because at mine, I only got credit for the ones that were HL and that I got a 3 over, which is all of them because you have to get a 3 over them to get your IB diploma. But at state universities, my friend's brother did only IB he didn't take any AP tests, and he went into college as a sophomore. So his IB tests were able to get him all of that credit so that he'd be a sophomore technically going into college. So it just depends where you go to school, which is like the same thing with AP tests, the same thing with dual credit. You just kind of have to like do your research and look into that. But overall, I would definitely recommend doing the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, because I think I got a lot out of it, gained a lot of skills, learned how to write, learned how to speak, learned how to communicate. I did a really cool community service project that I probably wouldn't have done without IB, because I just would have never thought about doing something like that, or like had someone like put me up to it and say like, kind of like empower me to do something like that. It would have just been something that had never crossed my mind, or like that I thought I could have done. So I think overall, also I just really loved TOK. That was like such a cool class. And then the extended essay sucked, the tests kind of suck, but you'll get through it, it's fine, and it's worth it in the end, in my opinion. So yeah, that was my IB experience. I also did AP, so if you want me to like talk about AP, or if you want me to compare IB and AP, I can do that. You can comment down below if you have that request. But if not, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, because those things help me out. Also, I'm going to be doing a giveaway at 500 subscribers, and I'm almost there, so subscribe, because I only need like 4 at this point. So be those 4.